now watching Animal Expedition Files.
Wake up with your favorite station. Online, digital, and on your smartphone.
It's time for your favorite host.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Animal Expedition Show. I am your host, the animal, the one and only. It's a nice gloomy day here at Cobble Critter Fest. Amazing day. The sun is, who wants to be melting in the sun? But I know I should have, but it's beautiful cover of nice clouds, and it's going to be an amazing day. I'm at the Cobble Mountain Critter Fest. Thank you so much for joining me on my show. It's going to be a fun day. It's the first ever festival here in Russell, Massachusetts, and we're very excited about it. I'm excited about it, and we're gonna have amazing people, a lot of amazing guests. People speak about Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal diving, you name it. We're gonna be talking about it, even if it's someone shitting on a toilet. We're gonna be talking about it. So that's what we do on the show. So we talk about nonsense. But it's good to see everybody here. I'm going to be having a few guests on the show here pretty soon. I just wanted to welcome you all and do a small little segment. Hey, Mike Kinsley, if you want to head over, come over if you're listening here live. Hey, Michelle, how's it going? It's good seeing you. But welcome to the Cobble Critter Festival. It's going to be a good day. Amazing weather, so let's hope and pray. But last night we did an expedition. I just want to talk about this a little bit. We did a little expedition last night, Bigfooting, which was amazing, by the way. We had a lot of sounds that came out, and pretty much they were talking to each other last night. I didn't know what to think of it, but it was pretty interesting. I had Bigfoot prints. If you want to hop on with me on the show here real quick, let's talk Bigfoot. Yeah, I'll put you on here. It's figure number two. Number two. All right. Let's see if we can hear. Put the music down a little bit. Hey, what's up?
Hey,
how's it going?
it's good.
So, man, I'm very excited about this event today. This is gonna be a lot of people are just starting to roll in. I see cars coming up. So many vendors. We got food. A lot of amazing speakers. We're gonna be talking about, you name it, cryptid, animals, all types of animals out there, UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, underwater ghosts. And we're gonna have a blast. But tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've experienced here so far since you've been here
Yeah.
at the.
Well, I'm Mike Young, and I am Connecticut's first Bigfoot investigator. I've known the Vogel brothers for years. Uh, been up here up at October Mountain, a few miles away. Very squatchy up there.
Oh wow!
I've been on expeditions up and down the East Coast, um, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont. Uh, One of my more famous investigations ended. It was in Whitehall, New York. The It's the Bigfoot capital of the East, and I went up on the wrong weekend. And I walked to the campsite, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't know they were going to send anybody. Well, thank God you came."
Yeah.
And I find out 30 hours earlier, a Bigfoot had crossed the road and left footprints
Wow.
in the gravel on the side of the road. So I interviewed the witness. Drove around town. We looked, but there were two probably 13-inch, 14-inch prints in the gravel. Paul Bartholomew, who's the local investigator, took prints, but humans cannot put a footprint into gravel.
No,
We're not heavy enough.
No, it's impossible.
So I completed my report, and the local newspaper picked it up. The Albany Times-Union picked it up a few days later. The New York Post picked it up. The New York Post is very Bigfoot friendly, believe it or not. And a few days later, it was on the Fox News channel. So
Oh, wow.
it became a very famous investigation, and I just accidentally went up to Whitehall on the wrong weekend. You know, we were supposed to be there 2 weeks later, but I had a really crappy week of work, and I said, I think we're going this, and I just jumped in my car without checking.
Yeah.
But it was a fun weekend anyway, and that's really the thing about Bigfooting is you just have to keep going in the woods.
Yeah.
If you just we don't know the secret recipe to entice them out of the woods. We don't know the call. We don't know a smell. We don't know what foods they like. We've tried every sound on the planet, crying babies, and I think that they're as intelligent as we are. And every trick we've tried doesn't really seem to work. I think they catch on to us fairly quick. They will respond. And Christopher Noel up in Vermont has said he thinks that they've got a little bit of autism, maybe some Asperger's, and they just don't like that eye-to-eye confrontation that a lot of people on that end of the spectrum do.
Wow.
So and there's been some behaviors that they exhibit. They rock back and forth. They're very good at hiding. They seem to. You never hear a story of a Bigfoot getting lost.
No.
You never hear a story of a juvenile wandering out of the woods being lost. So I think that's their domain, their kingdom, and so they have to have different faculties than we do.
Yeah.
Where we need to be social, we need to make weapons, we need to raise animals and families, and they're different. They're hunter gatherers. They're very opportunistic, I think, and they eat probably a very similar. They eat a lot more meat and plants, but there are many stories of them dumpster diving.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why Whitehall is such a popular spot. There's a golf course there. There's a bar and grill. There's a high school, and they all have big dumpsters.
Wow.
Yeah, I interviewed somebody in the Poconos once who they were just sitting, and they spent the night in the back of a barbecue joint. And they saw a whole family come out of the woods, open up
Wow.
the dumpster, and
Yeah.
just the juvenile jumped right in and was just chowing down.
Yeah.
He said he could see the rib bones in his mouth. and I'm like, who doesn't like barbecue?
Yeah. I mean,
And
I sure do.
so it's I've been doing this probably for 15 years. When I grew up north of New York City in Putnam County, New York,
Yeah.
and I heard a whoop when I was probably about 11 years old.
Hmm.
Didn't know it was. We were all heading out of the woods, heading home for dinner, and I heard a whoop, and I suspect it was a Bigfoot saying, "Hey, they're leaving," you
Yeah.
know. And really close to New York City, like 50, 60 miles north of New York City. And I didn't realize that was a Bigfoot whoop. I thought it was a bird or something until the television show Finding Bigfoot. And you hear all these whoops and stuff. I'm like, holy crap, that was a Bigfoot. And I started, going on expeditions and making really great friends. I mean, my Bigfooting friends now are people I could trust with my life.
Yeah.
And everyone's everyone's great. You just when you're out in the woods at night you got to trust people.
Yeah. Especially out there because you never know what's out there.
So I live now in a big city, Stamford, Connecticut, but um, Connecticut has a lot of Bigfoot activity. Um, we are finding, I don't want to give the exact location, but east of New Haven, just a few miles, just the past 6 weeks, we found 5, 6 footprints.
Wow.
And it seems like, in the marshy, muddy sides of the rivers and reservoirs, and it's constant. And we've always found footprints there. I've been going
Hmm.
to this location for years, and there's a four-toed on the right foot.
Hmm.
He's missing a pinky, and I don't know if it's frostbite or genetics,
Yeah.
because there aren't so many of them. There is some interbreeding. I think it could be genetics. And then
Hmm.
there are stories of a three-toed Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Um, I interviewed a witness who saw a dirty blonde Bigfoot about 3 years ago near Quinnipiac University, and right along. I mean, the Merritt Parkway is one of the third or fourth biggest highway in Connecticut, and uh, when I filed my report, people in the newspapers were saying, "Oh yeah, the dirty blonde is back." So there's been multiple sightings in this area of Connecticut. That's
Oh
north
wow.
of New Haven of a dirty blonde. And
Yeah.
Connecticut is connected to the rest of New England, believe it or not. And if you follow the Appalachian Trail or other trails, are just forests and reservoirs and power lines. You can get up here to the Berkshires and the Green Mountains and the White Mountains. It's not difficult. There's not huge barriers for mobility around
Hmm.
here. Where I'm doing an expedition next weekend in northwestern Connecticut. Uh, that area along the Housatonic River Valley is very squatchy.
Yeah.
It's the four main rivers in Connecticut: the Housatonic in the east, the Connecticut River Valley in the middle, and the Thames River or Thames over the east are the major rivers. And the Connecticut River is industrialized. It is the biggest river in New England. It goes all the way up to Quebec, but it's full of factory towns and cities. The most offshore cities in New England are along the Connecticut River.
Yeah.
It's you can barge up and down it. Um, but the Housatonic River, you could drink from it almost near the mouth of the river.
Hmm.
It's very clean. It's never been industrialized. It's just some small towns. It's a lot of bedroom communities for New York, and most of my investigations are within 7 or 8 miles of that river. Do you have any questions?
The one thing I was gonna ask
or
you,
the audience?
yeah. If by the way, if you're listening right now, I know it's early in the morning, and uh, I know I'm struggling as it is, and I'm gonna be drinking more coffee here pretty soon. But the one question I wanted to ask you that I'm gonna be asking a lot of people that's been kind of like, especially being here in Massachusetts, like here in like where I'm at, Florida, you got a lot of tree damage and all that stuff, trees falling,
Mhm.
a lot of weird stuff out there in the woods. But like one thing that I've been like kind of questioning myself is like tree structures.
Mhm.
Like I know these creatures are smart and intelligent, but the one thing that I always ask myself is it actually the creatures doing this tree structure form, or is it the way we're, because you gotta remember we got storms and stuff and things happen, trees fall, they die, they bend a weird way, and that's Mother Nature doing its job. But I know a lot of people here will argue where could this be an actual animal that's doing this for nesting, or sometimes people think that they're kind of like a gateway to like to show them where they're at. But
Mhm.
what's your take on that?
So about 15 years ago, I was in North Jersey, and my first expedition, I was terrified. And we go into this wildlife preserve, and 20 feet off the road, a tree about this big, you know, 8 or 9 inch in diameter, bent and twisted at about 7 feet up. And this was not the tallest tree in the woods.
Yeah.
There were much more mature trees, gigantic oaks on top of it. So it wasn't a crazy wind, but the tree was bent over and twisted. And I was thinking to myself, there was no mechanical marks on the tree. It wasn't some lumberjack. Um, and the leaves were still green on this tree.
Yeah.
And we head down the trail, and there's another one.
Hmm.
Same thing, about this big. And I'm like, and everyone's looking at it like, oh, it's a bent tree. And another 30 yards after that is another one. And they're all pointing in the same
Same
direction
direct, kind
along
of
the
like a
trail.
marker.
So we go to a location, and we're just sitting on logs. You could see the lights of New York City. We were probably about 40 miles from New York City in northern Jersey.
Wow.
And um, we're sitting there, and a colleague of mine, uh, he just recently passed. He had some cans on, and he had a directional microphone, and he was turning. He's like, "There's something behind us, and it's bipedal." And he could hear the steps, and we're all just very quiet. We're looking at each other, and nobody's taking phones out. We had night vision and thermal cameras. We're looking around, but we didn't hear anything. And Kevin, the guy with the headphones, and the microphone, was still saying, there's something walking around
Yeah.
on the ridge line on the hill behind us. So we were we were on just logs along the trail, and then there was a swamp, and there was a hill behind us, and he said it sounded like it was up on the ridge line there.
Hmm.
And finally, something threw a rock at me, landed right behind me, and that's when we left.
Yeah.
When you get rocks thrown at you, it's usually, and I think it wanted to go to the swamp and either try to catch some frogs and turtles. There's a lot of protein in swamps,
Oh yeah.
and that what they can also do is they'll pull the cat of nine tails out, and they'll eat like an onion. They'll eat the white part like a
Hmm.
scallion, and that's got sodium. It's got fresh water in it, and you can chew on it. Um, and I've seen those in swamps too. I've seen the little holes where they just pull the reed out, and it's gone. And I've seen little baby footprints next to it. So, they know they're not going to get sick if they chew on that. But if you drink swamp water, you might. I mean, they probably have a more robust digestion system than us, and they're
Hmm.
used to that. But
Yeah.
also, there's turtles and there's frogs and snakes in that water. There's a lot of easy to catch protein.
Yeah.
That's why, Florida and all over the country, they seem to gather in the swamps. But we
Mhm.
don't, because we go into the swamps and we get waist high and muck,
Yep.
and you can't get out, or there's snakes and alligators down south. It's humans have just never been attracted. So I think that's they've found, and there is food there.
Yeah.
Um, that was a fun weekend. I mean, I got my first night. I heard a whoop, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I've had rocks thrown at me in about 4 or 5 states,
Huh.
and they don't throw it to hit you. They throw it to push you out.
Yeah.
If they don't, or it's in a game. So I was in Tennessee with a couple. The wife was from Scotland, and the husband was from South Carolina. We were just sitting in a dirt road, back to back to back, and the wife just started picking up rocks and throwing them in front of her. She had nothing to do, and she was just picking up the rocks and tossing them. And right after that, the rocks started coming at us.
Wow.
Never, always 6 feet behind us. And after about the sixth rock, she's like, "That's it."
Hmm.
And we get up, and we start slowly walking back to the cars. And we didn't have keys, so we were taking our time. We were hoping the other people would get to the cars too. So we get back to the car, and the rocks are still coming at us,
Yeah.
but they never hit us. And they always were trying to push us towards the cars. So the husband went off to get the other group who had all the car keys.
Hmm.
And me and the Scottish lass were just sitting there, leaning against the car, and the rocks were still coming, hitting the cars. And that we all, the whole group gets there, and there was, the street, the cars were parked on the side in the woods.
Yeah.
And on the other side of those cars was the loudest wood knock I've ever heard in my life. It couldn't
Wow.
have been more than 30 feet away. But we immediately shined flashlights, and we didn't see anything. But this was
Hmm.
like, it sounded like somebody took a baseball bat and hit the side of a tree.
Yeah.
And pretty amazing. That was a wild night. We always hear, if you go out in the woods, you just sit there and you be quiet. You might hear wood knocks. You'll hear, I don't know if they actually pick up a stick and hit a tree, or if some people say if you go like that
Hmm.
with an open mouth, that and just open your lungs to that, you can turn it into almost like a drum and make that kind of noise. I've never seen anyone do it, but I've heard it's possible.
Yeah.
And if you've got huge lungs, that might really be a wood knock. It may not be somebody smacking a tree or something. It could just be like a chest beat, or some sort of pop in front of an open mouth.
Hmm.
But that seems to be their major form of
Yeah.
communication. Now, in other parts of the country, in Ohio and out west, they'll do the howls and the whoops, and I don't think they do them here as much, because they're living so close to us that,
Hmm.
that they don't want to be noticed.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get hit by a rock. Well, one of those, especially if they're like freaking huge.
No, very small. And
Huh.
I think, but getting back to the tree structures,
Yeah.
I think they use them. I think their main source of protein is deer.
Yeah.
That's their kingdom, their domain.
Well, it makes sense because there's a lot of bones out there that
Yeah.
people hunters see all the time. Just deer bones everywhere.
So if you ever encounter a hunter,
Yeah.
ask him, "Have you ever found a deer with the legs removed?" And
Hmm.
almost all of them are like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
It's like you can see the the hip joint, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Who would do that?" And I ask him, "Who would do that?" And
Wow.
they're like, "I don't know." And you say, "Why?"
Hmm.
And then you'd say, "Well, the rear legs is where most of the meat is."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." And who's strong enough to grab a dead deer and twist the leg off and rip that leg off at the
Yeah.
joint? And there's no human that can do that. And I've taught you, if anyone who's interested in Bigfooting, if you just talk to hunters and ask them what's the most unusual thing you've ever seen, they all have stories. They just don't know what they're seeing.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I know you're speaking here pretty soon. What time? What's your time?
I don't know. I don't know. Are you going to cover it?
I'm gonna try to cover it depending on who's talking here, but we're gonna be going on a quick break here, and I'm gonna be walking around and talking to a lot of amazing people. I know people are still rolling up here. There's gonna be speakers starting pretty soon, hopefully. I know I'll be going up around 1 o'clock sometime, but yeah, we'll be excited to see you talk and your story, and that was awesome because it just validates on what's going on, especially now. Like the Bigfoot community keeps growing, it seems like more people are having experiences. I don't know, some people say it could be we're in the times, or there could be more energy out there. I don't know, it could be the weather.
Fewer guns.
Yeah, fewer guns, or maybe someone's just eating Taco Bell and just farting out. And they're just coming out. I don't know, they're scaring them away, but you never know. But thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Animal.
Definitely, I appreciate it, and we gotta definitely do this again. I'll have you on my show again, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun day.
Oh yeah, take care.
You too, man. Thank you so much. Hey everybody, we're gonna be taking a quick break, but we are here in Russell, Massachusetts, at the Cobble Mountain Critter Fest. Hope you could enjoy. You could get your tickets on Eventbrite. I think it's like $23. Not bad. But come out and check it out. There's a lot of vendors here. There's food. There's gonna be a band here singing about Bigfoot and all that cool stuff over there at the Rockwall area. So it's gonna be spread out. This place is huge. If you were here, this place is out of this world, and it's just gonna get bigger and bigger every year. And you don't want to miss out on that. Trust me, it'll be fun. But thank you for joining me this early in the morning, and I see some people rolling in on the show. I'm going to be taking, hey, MK, how's it going? What's up? Actually, I want to say hello to everybody. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Mike. Hey, Brandy. How's it going? AKA Ghost Girl. Hey, Brandon. Hey, MK, what's up? I hope you guys are having a good morning. I'm going to be staying live here, but we're going to take a little break, so I'll be playing the music here in the background, and I'll be jumping in and out with guests, and then I'll be speaking around 1 o'clock, talking about paranormal diving. I know a lot of people don't. It's kind of a gray area with paranormal diving because not a lot of people thought there'd be spirits underwater, but there is. So we'll be talking about that, and we might be talking a little bit about that on my show. So stick around. Hope to see you soon. We'll be back and having a good time on the Animal Expedition Files. See you in a bit.
music's loud.
Huh?
I got music on my side.
Yep, it's gonna cut down.
Oh. There you go.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? It's a good thing I'm not wearing my hearing aids, man.
Hey everybody, we are back on the Animal Expedition Files, and we got an amazing guest here that has been on a really good, amazing show. Forge and Fire. It's Forge and Fire, right?
Yep, Forged in Fire.
Why don't you introduce yourself here a little bit and explain what you do and about the TV show that you were on?
Okay, cool. Yeah, my name is Dana Dupuis. I was really fortunate. I've been on Forged in Fire twice. I'm a 27-year vet. So I have a forge, Heroic Wolves Forge, and so we teach blacksmithing, bladesmithing to veterans with PTSD and suicide survivors for free. Then we have other classes and people pay, and that's how we keep the program going. We're not a nonprofit yet. Getting on the show was amazing. It was filmed in Stamford, Connecticut, and just great people.
That's
Really
awesome.
Great people. It's one big happy family. You know what I mean? It's a brotherhood, sisterhood. The hosts are great, and everybody that was there.
Wow. I know you were talking about like when you were doing these knives, it's a competition, right?
Yeah.
And you have to face other people, and you have to it's pretty much who's better than who.
Well, here's my deal. This is what I thought about right at the beginning. I don't have to I'm not going against them.
Yeah.
I'm going against myself.
Mm.
I have to make the best possible knife I can in 3 hours, right? So you don't even think about the other people.
Yeah.
And then, it's 4 competitors. So I figured, okay, I have a 75% chance of possibly going forward. Then the next time you got 33 and then to the final. So yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot involved. They throw the curveball per se.
Yeah.
But everything they ask, man, it's stuff that you have an interview process, and they ask you if you're comfortable doing things and all that. So it's set up really well. It's a great experience. I'm not joking. It's so much fun.
Now, do you get to keep what you make?
No, only if the only people that get to keep it is if you make it to the final round.
The final round.
And you're second. So the first place, if you're not, everybody knows the show, but so you get $10,000.
Yeah.
Just started. I think it was my episode, season 5. You were able to get back your weapon.
Yeah.
You came in second and stuff. So yeah, it's just a great experience, good people, and it opens the doors for so much.
Yeah.
I was able to help out other forgers that are nonprofit for vets. And what's really cool is I ended up getting a sponsorship from Palmgren. Palmgren makes amazing stuff. They make variable speed grinders, buffers, drills, saws. I'm trying to think of what else. Honestly, if you look on their site, Palmgren, you'd be pleasantly surprised all the stuff they have.
Wow.
Clamps, paint markers. It's just, and they're great people. Great people.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, you get to meet a lot, and I get to meet people like you we're at the Boy Scout camp.
Yep.
And I'm the blacksmith manager here for over 15 years. So we have our shop set up.
That's awesome.
Little projects for people to do, and we got some stuff that we're selling, and a couple of raffles, I guess.
Yeah.
We have one raffle for a decent knife and stuff.
That's awesome. Now, I know we had a conversation yesterday. You were talking about military and what you do for the military vets, and I love that so much because my dad's a vet too.
Yeah.
He was a hard hat diver in the Navy, and there's so many people out there with PTSD, that depression, and go homeless, and sometimes they don't go survive that.
Yeah.
And what you were telling me, like, you help these vets, like, tell me the whole process, what you do, especially with you mix it with blacksmith of doing knives. So tell us a little bit about that.
So it's kind of primal for people. I call blacksmithing or bladesmithing kind of the equalizer. You don't have to be this huge person to do it. I mean, you just have to time and effort. And what we find is once you get into that groove, you don't think about any problems. Anything you're having. It could be physical ailment. I know I shared with you, I had a gentleman, his right bicep was by his elbow, and his right leg was 6 inches shorter from an explosion.
Yeah.
Here's one story I didn't tell you. I had a gentleman that came into our class when I was in Ohio, and he had safety glasses that were tinted. I was like, hey, dude, you got to wear clear. He's like, well, the lights bother me. I have a TBI. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll work with it. And he gets headaches from lights and stuff. It's just the reason why about the glass is you want to be able to see the color of the steel that when you're working, and you want to work it high.
Yeah.
It moves better, and you have better. You're limiting the possibility of having some kind of inclusion or bad stuff.
Yeah.
And within 2 hours, man, he was wearing clear glasses, and you could see it. Had another gentleman. He was a Vietnam vet. His job was to recover helicopter crashes. So him and his team went there, and all of a sudden they got attacked. Well, they left him. He was stuck in the jungle for a week.
Wow.
I met him on a fishing trip, and this guy is he's amazing. He's all there in a bag of chips. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
And he took the class. He was like, Dana, this is the most relaxed I've ever been in my life. I just want to take a nap now. So what blacksmithing and bladesmithing, what that allows you to do is, no matter how much pain or anything, it's almost like a talisman. Meaning, I made this. You know what I'm saying? I made this. It's almost like them being able to think about a time where they weren't in pain, or they weren't thinking of anything else, and it helps. It's called therapeutic. Oh my gosh, there's a term for it. Occupational therapy, therapeutic. I forgot the term. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
I'm not the brightest bulb today. I'm still waking up. But the point is, yeah, there's actually programs for this, and a lot of vets, we have PTSD. Like I have PTSD, and that's kind of why I started this for myself. And in doing so, I'm able to help others, which helps with me, my social anxiety per se. I love to talk to people, as you found that out yesterday.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, Animal has a knife he's gonna be working on today too, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. The point is, though, it's just a great avenue for people to do something. The funny thing is, too, here's another one. I've had 5-year-old kids, girls make something. It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to hit something when it's hot with a hammer?
Yeah, you take out your frustration, especially being a child. That's like that would be cool to me to just hit some metal and just hear that sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, therapeutic recreation. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
See, there you go.
You're brilliant, Josh.
I'm actually surprised I thought of that word. That's kind of a big word for me in the morning.
I was gonna say, man, I think you and I have a brain trust there anyway.
Yeah.
You're my friend.
Yeah, we mix well together.
Yeah. And it's funny, you got to take your picture. What I want you to do is see how my van is.
Yeah.
So you can stand right behind it. It's got the Cobb critter, and it says "Caution Live Animals."
I'll be like,
that's where you should be for the podcast. I was thinking about that. Have you standing right there, "Caution Live Animals."
Yeah. Well, that would be funny.
Oh yeah.
Can we charge for that? Like $10?
That's what I said.
That'd be a profit, wouldn't it?
Honestly, whatever money we were talking about this. So whatever money I bring in for this event, I'm donating it back to the thing for 33% of it.
Wow.
A third of it. So we've got a couple things out there. So
yeah.
I can't wait, man.
That's really cool, man. I'm really excited with the things that you're doing.
Thanks.
This especially the talk with you, man. It's really good to talk to somebody who has that background in military and the stories, and because like I grew up with that, with my dad just telling me stories of the things that he did in the service and all the kind of crazy people that he met and just connected with. And it just breaks my heart when I see it, because I see it all the time in Florida too, where there's a lot of suicides.
Yeah.
And I did a documentary called Through Hell and Back. It's where people went through all this hell and they got out of it, of getting themselves out of suicide. And check it out on Dark Realm TV. But I have an episode up there. But it's just crazy, all these people, that what they've been through. I remember when I was in high school. It's a short story. He was a vet, and he was a substitute teacher. I'll never forget. And kids would freaking mess with him all the time and like slam a book on the table, and he would duck, and people would laugh and be like, "Why is that so funny?
Right.
That's not cool. It's something that you should not do, especially when they've been through so much trauma."
And that's the thing. I think a lot has to do with when I was in Balad, it's called Mortareville. So we get attacked constantly. I was on terminal leave. I went to see my engineering friends at Bay State, and we're talking, and a ladder fell.
Wow.
But you know what's funny? Everybody else jumped. I stood there, because you become desensitized to your environment.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you're in bed, klaxon goes off. It's like, incoming, incoming. Take cover. You're in your bed. You know what
Yeah.
you do? Put the cover over your head. We had a saying, don't run, you'll die tired.
Yep.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I have a quick story. I was in Balad, Iraq, and did some work at the State Department. They said, oh, I didn't tell you this story. It's pretty funny. So my last 2 deployments, I processed all the ammo coming out of Iraq,
Yeah.
2010, and then in Afghanistan. That was my main job. So they had some stuff they had to ship out ammo, no problem. And they were like, hey, can we get you anything? I was like, I don't know, maybe some knives. The guys, we can't do that. We can get you steaks. I'm like, all right, cool. Dude, I had enough. We're talking, it was Omaha steaks. I had loins, I had T-bones, all this. So I'm cooking it. It was during Ramadan. I was cooking for 200 some odd people. And first group comes, asked my commander, how do you like your steak? He's like, medium rare. Everybody else went, well done. Well, they're good steaks. Well, we got mortared. And usually you cleared every 2 minutes. So I'm on the corner of the building, just kind of like, I look at my commanding officer. He's in this building on his belly like he's supposed to. Like, sir, with all due respect, I'm not going to hit the ground. I'm cooking. He's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to eat my steak. So he starts eating the steak. Then we get attacked again and again. Now we're at 6 minutes. I look at him. I was like, sir, respectfully press permission to flip those steaks. Like, shh, go ahead, said. So I grabbed the steaks and flipped them. People say, oh, that would have been really funny if we got fracked. You don't understand. They were good steaks. I mean, they really were.
Wow.
I had peppers and onions, and I always had balsamic vinegar. I could cook for people is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And, we had a great time.
That's awesome.
And that's the weirdest thing. You can talk to any vet. They're going to tell you good times they had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even getting shot at, mortared, whatever. The bottom line is, it's what you're living in. You know what I'm saying?
It's that atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough. The weirdest thing is, I tell everybody this, even if you were, say you deployed and you didn't get attacked or anything, I'm like, dude, go talk to a counselor when you get out.
Mhm.
Just talk to them, therapist. Because it could be as simple as this. Josh, you're, I don't know, you wake up in the middle of the night, you want to get a glass of milk. You
Mhm.
can't do that. There's something different. You got to go to the bathroom. Well, you have to put on your uniform. You have to find a porta potty. What I'm getting at is it's not your normal way of life.
Yeah.
And you need to talk about that. That's why they have something called reintegration counseling, which I
Yeah.
was part of and stuff. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And what your dad went through, or Vietnam guys, like I tell everybody, I think of their service, and because of what they went through, it's easier for us that were, you know, like I've been in the military. I joined the military in 1988, and I retired 2014.
Mm.
And as I told you, I've been in every major conflict in some way, except Kosovo and Bosnia
Hmm.
since '88. So I've seen the best and worst of all mankind. I really have.
Wow. That's amazing, dude. It's I definitely commend you for what you do, and thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
man.
you for what you do with the vets, because we need more of that. We need more people like you to be able to help. There's so many vets out there that are hurting right now, and I think just like we said, it's therapeutic,
Yep.
especially for them to do something like
yeah.
this, to just forge something to something
Well, we have
amazing.
We have a saying that's called #ForgeOn.
Yeah.
Oracles forge on. That's it, man. You just keep going.
Yeah, and it's fun, and you get to create something amazing out of steel. Like you one of your knives you said you created out of elevator cable.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that just blows my mind that you could create something out of.
The piece was literally this long and about that wide, and did it. And then did you see this one yet?
No, I don't think I saw that one. Oh yeah, I did see that one.
So I don't know if you want to put it closer to the camera. This is what I did for my before I went on the second time. I wanted to see if I could make Damascus.
Yeah.
So that was done with 6 layers, and it was all done by hand. No
Wow.
no press or anything. I don't know if you want to get a good up close up. And that literally was started 1.5 inches wide. I think it ended up being 3/4 thick, and the piece was 6 inches long. And when it was all said and done, it was a little bigger than. I had 2 pieces the size of a lighter, and that's what I forged. So it's a hidden tang. So the tang, as I used it for the work stick, it welded together, so the tang's all the way to there.
That's
and
awesome.
That's Damascus. Yeah.
That's a beautiful knife.
Oh, thanks, man.
That's a good hunting knife. There.
You know what that's good for? Take it hogging.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, man.
Definitely, man. Well, I'm excited. Thank you so much for coming on.
No worries.
We're gonna take a break here in a few minutes. And I'm going to be forging, helping out forging a knife.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I've been wanting to do that. I know my wife wants to do that, so I'm excited to get my family up here and we're gonna all forge together. So
yeah, it's gonna be a great time.
Yeah.
Great time.
I'm excited. Thank you so much, brother,
You're
for
welcome.
coming on the show.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the show. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to sign off here on the stream, and then we'll sign back on here in a little bit. So I hope everybody has a good day, and we will be back here pretty soon if I can find this video.
Lights on.